Hello E39 source, this is Nate Jones from Fullerton, California, and today I'm introducing my 2002 BMW E39 530i. This car is painted in Toledo Blue Metallic BMW paint code 482 over a gray leather interior. From the factory, this car had Mark III navigation, the DSP sound system, the premium package, the sport package, the cold weather package, comfort seats, and most importantly in my opinion, the 5-speed manual transmission. This is my third BMW, my third E39, and my third 530i E39, but this is my first manual car. The car, VIN number WBAD-T53442CE92358, has 213,000 miles on it as of now, and it left the production line on October 29th, 2001. I've been in the E39 community for almost 4 years now, and I've learned a lot and have made lots of little tweaks to this car as a result. Starting with the exterior, the car has been thoroughly reworked as a result of 2 impacts, though neither of those impacts resulted in chassis damage or airbag deployment. So the trunk lid, the rear bumper, the hood, and the left front fender, and the front bumper have all been replaced as a result of accident damage and have been refinished. Starting right up front, there is an aftermarket front bumper with a license plate delete panel for the front plate. The aftermarket front bumper fits okay. It's not great, but I think it was like $130 plus painting, so even if the finish is a little bit off, doesn't really bother me all that much. You can also see the V8 E39 grills that I've installed, which are a nice upgrade and give it a little more Uber-Holt prestige than the factory grills. We've also changed the BMW badge out for a new one. Now the headlights have been thoroughly reworked. I have DJ Auto replica clear corner Euro style lenses over the factory Hella housings. Inside the headlight are solid aluminum headlight adjusters, so I hopefully won't have to replace those ever again, along with new Morimoto Evo XR 2.0 bi-xenon projectors and new LED chip-on-board style angel eyes. The factory Hella Generation 3 35-watt ballasts drive new Morimoto 4500 Kelvin D2S bulbs. The nighttime output is amazing and for a lot less than a new set of genuine Hella Euro lamps. The bi-xenon functionality is an added benefit, and the angel eyes are just icing on the cake. I very much like how these lights look in the daytime, and at nighttime they work even better than they look, and they are extraordinarily bright. The factory angel eye bulbs were gutted to run wire into the high beam splitter for the bi-xenon operation, and to provide plug-and-play wiring with the factory harness. No wiring modifications were made to the body harness, so you could buy a new set of headlights and just throw those straight in. In addition to normal cooling system maintenance, the radiator has been replaced with an E39 M5 radiator for the thicker cooling core. The M5 radiator is a bolt-in upgrade for any E39 that uses the quick disconnect style of coolant hoses. The water pump down there is a Stewart EMP stainless steel unit, and the thermostat is genuine BMW. The secondary air pump down there has been replaced to solve the jet-like roar that the car had on cold starts. All 6 of the rubber brake lines in this car have been replaced with stainless steel ECS tuning units, and I have installed, obviously, an eBay special strut brace that cost me about $100, maybe even less than that, I don't forget exactly. It fits well, but I did have to remove the hood sensor from the cabin air filter housing to make it fit properly. The entire intensive cleaning system, including the headlight washers, has been removed, and the washer tank has been downsized and resealed to stop some small leaks. The inlet hose is new as well. The upper intake hose is from an E46 330i to remove the Helmholtz resonator, which allows a little more sound out at higher RPMs, but it does not affect the drivability or power of the M54B30. It also makes servicing a little bit easier, and the F connector has been replaced with an ECS tuning aluminum F connector for better durability. The engine here is all stock, and at 213,000 miles it shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. This is a BMW M54B30, and its Siemens MS43 DME is running Jim Conforti's Shark Injector software. I use Castrol Edge, full synthetic 0W40 Euro formula, and I change the oil myself every 7,500 miles or so. I finished up a major service at 211,000 miles, according to this sticker here. Then I changed the oil, did the spark plug change, new oil filter housing gasket, new oil pan gasket, a new power steering reservoir, which is already leaking, and a lot of grease removal. I also reinforced the oil pump at the bottom of the engine with a Bimmerworld drilled and safety wired oil pump nut due to the M54B30's poor crankshaft harmonics. Onto the transmission, I installed a UUC B1 lightweight flywheel and clutch and pressure plate from an E34 M5. The clutch is much heavier than a stock clutch, but I also bypassed the clutch delay valve, which helps to smooth engagement. I used the UUC transmission fluid hot climate mix to quiet down the inevitable gear rattle. I also have the Einhorn Industries Unicorn Nuggets, or solid aluminum shifter carrier bushings. The shifter shaft itself is an ever-popular E60 545i short shifter. The new transmission rod end joint and E60 545i lever combined to eliminate the need for the small yellow plastic washers that BMW includes from the car from the factory. The drive shaft was recently freshened by yours truly, with new guibo and a new center shaft bearing. The rear CV joint has a small boot tear, so it flings grease everywhere, but there's no play in the joint, and I simply repacked it with grease and tried my best to patch the small tear. Not sure if that held up yet. I'll climb under the car and be sure later. The car sits lowered on a set of H&R Sport springs, which lowers it about an inch all around. The springs are mounted on Koni FSD shocks, or Koni Gold shocks, to keep the impact harshness down. The stock 17x8 ET20 BMW Style 42 two-piece alloy wheels made by BBS have definitely seen better days, but they are lightweight and they're functional, and I do think they are one of the prettier wheel designs. They're currently wrapped in Continental Extreme Contact Sport tires. The Contis are okay, but they tend to heat up and become a little bit greasy on extended fast drives, and they are harsher over small road imperfections in daily driving than the Michelin Pilot Super Sports that they've replaced. I also have a set of iBox sway bars, front and rear. The front 27mm bar is set to full stiff, and there is just a hint of understeer at the limit. The 18mm bar is larger than either the M5 rear sway bar or the Dyna rear sway bar. The sway bar really transforms the car's handling. It really buttons the car down at higher speeds, and especially in transitions. The sway bar end links are Miele up front, Miele HD actually, and they're Lem Forder in the rear. The front thrust arm has a monoball bearing from Synchro Design Works out of Georgia. They are now available from FCP Euro, though they were not at the time I bought mine. The lower control arm is new Lem Forder. The rear suspension has not yet been refreshed, although that will be a good project for the next year, I think. The ball joints and control arms are all in good order, but they are worn, and I'm sure some of the bushings could use refreshing, and some of the ball joint boots are torn and leaking grease. It's hard to see in there, but the car currently uses Miele Platinum brake rotors, which I like for their Geomet anti-corrosion coating, and I currently use Hawk HPS pads. So far, they've been my favorite pads. They are quiet most of the time with an occasional light squeal. They have similar bite to the OE BMW pads, though stopping power does begin to fade on a long mountain run, but that's not unexpected for a street pad. The dust is at most a quarter of the OE dust, which is a great improvement. The windshield seal does need to be replaced, as you can see, but it's not a desperate issue. It won't cause water leaks if it's not there, just maybe a touch more wind noise. The cowl trim down here is also getting a bit worn with age. Again, not unexpected for 213,000 miles. There's numerous small chips and paint scratches and stuff like that. This right rear wheel aerodynamic spat is missing underneath the car. I need to replace that, but again, 213,000 miles. If that's the only panel that's missing, I'm not going to complain too much. Now onto the fender liners. You probably already saw they're missing. They do tend to rip out quite easily, and as they're $50, I'd rather not put them back in without some sort of reinforcement. And onto the interior. Again, there are small upgrades throughout, but nothing huge. The instrument cluster pixels are pretty bad now, but I'm currently researching how to fit a used cluster into the car. The navigation computer has been upgraded to the newer Mark IV from the Mark III. It's not nearly as useful as Google Maps even still, but the increase in speed is well worth the cost. Even like the DSP menus and all that stuff works faster with the Mark IV. The DSP sound system works well, but the speakers are unmodified. At some point I would like to do a 10-inch dual sub-op installation. Probably not the M Audio ones because those are so expensive these days, but you can get aftermarket subs that will work. I do have a late production BM53 radio that supports Sirius XM auxiliary in and the MP3 CD players. However, I have not installed any hardware to take advantage of that. I am also working on a BMW ULF Bluetooth system retrofit, but because of the huge mess of wires from the old car phone, that you can kind of see here, and there's a ton more tucked back up in there, I need to retrofit an old phone harness, I believe. The old harness does not work with the ULF system here. When I tried it, it just blew out a fuse. Here you can see my Ultimate cup holders and my drop stops tucked down there. These are actually some of my favorite upgrades for this car, and the drop stop are for any car that keeps stuff from falling down into the crevices, and they're actual functional cup holders for an E39. Crazy, I know. The comfort seats certainly live up to their name, although after 213,000 miles, the driver's seat is definitely getting some wear on it. Likewise, the shifter and shifter boot are both showing their age. The original gray floor mats were falling apart after 17 years and 213,000 miles, so I replaced them with a used set of black floor mats. You can also see my European lower dashboard. Again, one of the most important upgrades I think the car has overall. This one just makes it so much easier to fit taller or wider people into the car. And I actually kind of like the two-tone effect we have going on with the gray door panels and the black dash. And the last little thing about this car, this interior trim is not original. This is actually painted Vivona wood. The previous owner painted it titanium silver to better go with the gray interior, and I agree. I think it looks actually really nice. Not as expensive as the Titan line trim, although that is nicer. I do like the way this painted finish looks as well. If you follow E39 Source, you may remember the illuminated E38 door handle retrofit that I did earlier this year with Ryan and Kenan in San Diego. So there she is. I really love this car a lot. It's treated me very well, it's decent on gas, it's reliable, it's very comfortable for long trips. I really have no complaints, and I look forward to doing small upgrades here and there over the coming months and years. Thanks so much for watching.